Hello everyone, my name is Jidebere. I'm the founder Aspires Consulting. On this video, I'll just be sharing in a nutshell what IELTS exam is all about, and then in the subsequent videos I'll be sharing some tips, things that most people ignore when they're preparing for the exam, and sometimes it leads to a very low band score, at the end of the exam. So IELTS, for those who are not aware of this exam, this is the first time you're hearing it. IELTS is IELTS. It simply means International English Language Testing System. This is an exam taken in different countries, in the UK here, in Australia, Canada. It's just to test your English proficiency. Most students from foreign countries where English is not their main language of communication, this test is given so that those students can prove that they can communicate, speak, listen, in English. Basically know how to communicate in English language. So that's what IELTS is all about. And the IELTS is divided into two parts. We have IELTS Academics and we have IELTS General. IELTS Academic is simply for those who plan to study abroad in the UK, US, New Zealand, Canada, and some other countries where this may be required, just to test your knowledge of English, your proficiency, meaning how you communicate. So in this exam, you have 4 skills that you're tested on. You're tested on your speaking skill, you're tested on your listening skill, you're tested on your reading and your writing. And then for these 2 categories of IELTS exam, the academic is strictly for students who may wish to go into their undergraduate studies or postgraduate, that's master's, PhD. And then for the general, those who wish to live and work in these countries. So you're also assessed by this exam. So for those 2 categories, academics and general, the listening and speaking same, the reading and writing different. So but I'm not going to go into that deep. I'm going to just give you an overview. If you wish to know more about this exam, and probably you've been applying to universities, and under the qualifications, things you need, requirements, they call it entry requirements, and they mention IELTS, and then you see some numbers attached to it, which is a band score. They might say 6.5, 7.5 overall band score. It means for all these 4 skills I mentioned, you need to attain a particular band score for each of those categories, all those types, the listening, speaking, reading, writing. You need to attain a particular band score, and then taking the average of these scores will give you what is required for that admission. So that's what it simply means. So if you're confused about the whole thing, just feel free to drop a comment, drop your questions in the comment section. I'll try as much as possible to answer all these questions accordingly. And if you also have your own idea, opinion, feel free to drop it in the comment section. So I'm going to just explain what it simply means, just briefly, for all the skills. And then the next video you'll be seeing will be the tips. I'm going to start with the listening, because I noticed that listening is one category of the exam that has almost all other skills involved. How do I mean? If you're doing listening exam, it means you're listening. You're also, sometimes people read things to understand. You're reading a question, you read it while you're trying to make sense out of it. So, and also it involves reading. It also involves writing. How? When you're listening to something, you're reading the question, because in the exam, you're always given time to read a particular part of the question. Probably they will say you have 1 minute to read question 1 to 5. So that's reading, which is already a skill that you'll be tested on. So, and then writing is when you listen for the answer, you write it down. So you can imagine trying to combine the other 3 skills in 1 skill. So it is very, very important that I concentrate on this. I may maybe in future talk about the reading and the writing, some few things I discovered. Mind you, I'm not I wouldn't say everything here is 100%. You can pick up some trusted sites, read some articles from the British Council website also to be able to understand well. But I'm going to share my own experience. I based on experience, I've written the both categories of exam and had a very good score, and that's why I'm sharing some things I applied, some of the methods I applied to achieve those scores. So back to the brief. So the speaking aspects is roughly 12 to 15 minutes thereabout, and then you're just it has three parts. The first part is about you. Normally when you go for an interview, they ask you what's your name, what do you do. So you're going to be asked such a question. Just feel free to speak. Nobody wants to know whether you're saying the truth or not, but just to test your knowledge of grammar, vocabulary, and how fluent you are speaking, and not using much of hesitation. They just want to see you speak, express yourself. Remember, you're just tested on your spoken English, your written, your communication aspect, and your listening part. So just feel free. You have a lot of articles, a lot of journals, a lot of things to read. Watch movies, good movies that you hear them use American accent, British accent, Australia, and all that, just to help yourself prepare. It's an easy example. You have to prepare. You need to master some strategies that will help you do so well in the exam. So for the speaking, so three parts. The first part is about you. Second part, you're given a topic on a cue card, and then you'll be given things to talk about the topic. And from observation, from some videos I've watched and from the articles I've listened to, you are expected to keep speaking. Just keep talking about it. Make sure you follow the order, or just feel free. Most importantly, I advise you talk from your experience, your personal experience. If the topic is related to an experience you've had in the past, I will recommend you use your personal experience because it helps you to flow. But when you're trying to imagine something you've read somewhere and trying to build up some ideas, you could lose it. And then the third part is a follow-up questions based on what you've spoken about, or maybe just other questions from other categories. I'll leave you to go online. I'll drop some links where you can visit and learn more about this, some good sites where you can. And then of course, if you register for the exam, you're given access to the free study where you can practice some of these skills to prepare very well for the exam. Then listening is very important. This is where you listen. While you listen, you write the answers, and then it's played once. The audio is played once. It can be repeated. So you make sure you listen carefully and attentively, so that you don't miss out the answers. Because while you're listening for those for the recorded audio, those answers are being mentioned. So make sure you listen for the answers. And then reading, the normal reading, it has different sections, so you listen for the answers. Some of those questions may come in as a completion sentence question. It could be choose alphabet. Use an alphabet to represent that. We are going to look into some of these examples when I talk about the reading. So just wait for it. I'm going to be showing that video subsequently, but I'm going to concentrate on the listening aspect. This is where I'm going to be paying attention to, because most people, from what the complaints I've gotten from some of my friends, they always have problem with listening. While practicing, it seems very easy, but when you go into the exam, it seems like you've not done anything. So I'm going to be sharing some important tips that people mostly ignore, and they tend to score low in the exam. Mind you, the exam, there is no fail, there is no pass, that you scored high or you failed. No, it's based on the score, your band score. will determine what probably what you're using it for. If you are using it for school, the school will state the overall band score you should attain in order to get the admission. If you're using it for work, they also give you the band score. So it's based on what the requirement is. So there is no fail, there is no pass in this exam. So just do your best to study well, prepare well, and then I wish you all the best. So watch out for the next video on the tips. I have several of them, about 8 or 9 of them. I'm going to be sharing them just from bit by bit, and then I expect questions. If you have any question regarding what I've spoken about the exam, maybe you are trying to apply to a school and they are asking for such exam, feel free to drop me a message on the comment section. I will try to respond to you, and if it's possible, we can have one-on-one meeting, and then I'll explain in details what I've spoken about. So thank you for listening, and you may subscribe to this channel for more videos, and also for your questions, feel free. Remember, my name is Chidibere. I'm the founder Aspires Consulting. See you next time. Bye.